writing instead of
Right.
thinking ahead.
Right.
Do they track their progress using the rubric? So do they know what are the tangible gains that they're making between paper to paper just yet? Or is that something that comes a little later?
They haven't seen it other than in their grades.
Mhm.
And I put comments on their papers. I think you saw, well, the ones that you saw were not graded, but I can show you some that I've turned back today
Mhm.
that I have comments on. And there are comments all over those papers, even the very strong ones.
Mhm.
Because as I tell the kids, I don't care how strong it is, it's not strong enough.
Right.
Keep pushing.
There's
keep
always
pushing.
room to
There's
improve.
always room for improvement. And, you know, they'll look at each other's papers sometimes and they'll say, well, I don't have as many remarks on my paper as Amy has on hers, but I have a B and she has an A minus. Why is that? Well, because we're going to push Amy from an A minus to an A.
Mhm.
And right now, I want you to push yourself from a B, concentrate on these few things, to push yourself to a B minus. Amy's ready to be pushed a little harder.
Mhm.
And that's sometimes hard for them to understand.
Mhm.
And that's the reason I don't use the rubrics yet,
Mhm.
because I think those rubrics are too specific at this point in time. Right now, my goal is for each one of them to be pushed by their own accomplishments
Mhm.
rather than a generalized rubric standard, if that makes sense.
Mhm. It does. What is their understanding at this point, coming to you in the 12th grade, of writing as a process? Is that deeply embedded for them at this point, that what I can slap down on paper in a 40-minute period may have very little resemblance at this stage of the game in the AP year to what I might
Yes.
can do given 2 or 3 days to go back and rework?
Right.
Are they deeply embedded in that?
Yes, they know, and they've known from the time they were in the 9th grade, that they never, ever turn in a graded draft for me unless I've seen it at least twice
Okay.
before it's graded.
Fantastic.
They do sort of a brainstorming write,
Mhm.
and we look for key components in that brainstorming write, and then they find their thesis and their supports from that, and then they'll do a rough draft, and they turn in the rough draft. Sometimes I critique it, sometimes they do each other's.
Mhm.
They're really harder on each other than I
Are
I
they?
am on them.
Isn't that funny?
But that's a good way for them when they can't see it in their own paper, they can see it in someone